There we go, we have holes. We have a really badly welded chunk of metal on the end that's actually a brake pad. Please don't be too rough on my welding, I know it's shit. Worst case scenario, I can just cut it off. But it's never going to be seen, it's in an exhaust, so I wanted something nice and chunky that isn't going to fly off and disappear through things, so I've made sure the disc is larger than the hole. Right, let's chuck it in. G'day lovely people, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, this will be my Knackers Yard. Blue is out because I've just been out on a bit of a Sunday binball with him. And I'll chuck in a bit of footage here. Right, good morning everyone, welcome back to Nat's Knackers Yard. I don't think I'm really going to be doing a lot today, so I thought I'd go for a bit of a cruise. I'm waiting on the headstock bearing coming through. I might have to have a look at seeing if I can find some toolage to help me do it. But it's Sunday today, it is Father's Day, so I'm taking the opportunity of just having a bit of time on a bike. Yeah, so I do enjoy spending time under bikes, but it's quite nice to spend them on them occasionally as well, particularly when it's not just going to work. Sloping noise. I can keep an eye on my volts now, my battery life. That jumped up straight away, which is nice, so my stator is doing what it needs to do. Let's go. And these are boring. You're right. I'll take that sort of boredom any day. I do want to get that other mirror sorted though. So I am waiting for the extension pieces just so I can push them out a little bit. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll just have them in a bit. But I feel the need to have them out a little bit. So I'm blowing a few cobwebs away at the moment. As I mentioned on an earlier upload, it was our wedding anniversary on Monday. Monday's gone. We don't really do the gifts for each other bit anymore. God, that sounds sad, doesn't it? And we've never really done it, to be honest. But what we tend to do is just buy ourselves something we want or need, rather than just more bits of tat or dust collectors for mantelpieces. So we bought ourselves a barbecue. Had its inaugural burn yesterday. Well, it wasn't actually, we had a little burn with just the household, but then we had a couple of the wife's friends around last night, or friend and a wife. I suppose they're both her friends really, they both work in the same place, and it was lovely. But he brought around some beer. I've got to work out the story. He's got a friend that's a monk. He's got a friend that decided to joined a monastery in his mid-30s, did it for about 5 years and then come out before he went full-blown, I suppose. But said monk now runs a brewery. It sounds like the worst joke set up in the world, but so he brought around some homebrew. See if I remember to put a picture up of it. It's not homebrew, sorry, no, that's down in it. It's probably artisan beer is probably the best way of putting it, I suppose. Because it's proper bottled and yada yada yada, and commercially sold and labelled and everything. But 7.4%. It kicked me on my arse last night and kicked me in the head this morning. So yeah, this is kind of blowing away the cobwebs ever so slightly. But yeah, Ooh. Come on, people. It always fascinates me the number of people that have no concept of how wide their cars are. I better crawl through this at 3 miles an hour. Yeah, the automatic bike kicks in there. Just cruising around third gear, you really don't need to change. Although I will there, because 10 miles an hour in third gear is probably pushing it. I've been reading around and looking around a fair bit on CBF. So after I bought it, which is really fucking stupid of me, to be honest, the sort of thing, sort of research you should do before you buy a bike rather than afterwards. It is a jack of all trades, but not only is it a jack of all trades, it's really quite good at them all as well. So it's not just, you know, a utility bike tends to compromise on things because it has to. You know, a sports bike is designed to go around a track. It compromises some of that trackability to make it more livable with, but actually that's its principal purpose. A tourer bike is, you know, I don't say big and slow, they are, you know, big, cumbersome, but it needs that bulk to be able to carry panniers, boxes, and more often than not you know, a second bag of bones and flesh. Oh, I can fit through there. Yeah, so this kind of hits all of them, but it doesn't compromise too many. It doesn't compromise too much on any of them. So it doesn't, you know, it's still sporty enough to put a smile on my face, if nothing else. It's big enough to hang stuff on, and you know, apparently ride very, very well with a pillion passenger. Not something that I tend to do / ever do. The good lady is just not interested, and plus we got 3 kids, so we'd have to dump them somewhere before we did that, and that's kind of not our thing. We tend to do things as a family unit, man. You know, as a lump. Occasionally I get a few minutes to extract to go and do stuff. The one minus on this, and a few people, you know, there's a few things about the stator and the stator's weak or yada yada. Okay, I've given my opinion on that before. We'll see. I haven't experienced problems yet, but I've only had it a very short time. But the exhaust is very, very quiet, and I did put it on one of the videos about, you know, people do upgrade or change or whatever you want to call it, go to a larger, deeper, throatier, etc. I have to say it doesn't, and actually Dan Barnes and a couple of others of people have mentioned about, oh yeah, but you got, you know, audio cameras in London nowadays, they're looking for, you know, loud exhaust, etc. I don't think that's a reason not to do it, because even with a Black Widow or something like that, this bike is not going to be loud enough to make eardrums bleed. Well, it will be if I just left the exhaust off. You know, those cameras are more after 125s with bean tins, or 600 with race pipes, because they are a fucking nuisance, frankly. They're bloody loud, and it's just kind of brings down the biking fraternity, you know, writ large. But even with, you know, bigger cams, this isn't going to be that noisy, or as noisy as them, I should say. But actually I quite like it. It's quite nice having something a bit quieter. Now that might bug me eventually. I might get fed up with it. But not yet. It's quite nice. I know it's there. It makes enough noise. Let's face it, the only time that I really rev bomb is when somebody pisses me off, and it still makes enough noise to be noticed in those situations. And it's also got a lot of road presence because it's a big lump of metal and plastic. But yeah, it's yeah, I like it. It's a nice bike, and actually I kind of like the counter cool bit. You know, it's not a cool bike. It'll never be a cool bike, I don't think. But then I did exactly the same with my diversion, and I think that's part of the reason why Dave and I struck the relationship up that we did, was because Dave was drastically uncool. Don't get me wrong, I made him look a damn sight cooler, but he was never going to be, the hip kid on the block. It didn't bother me in the slightest. In fact, it probably endeared me more to him than it did against. Right, I'm going to stop off at B&Q because there's a few bits what I need to get, and then I might pootle on to Halfords. So what am I up to today then? A little bit of arsing around, I think. I've taken one of, believe it or not, this thing has got baffles in them. By baffles, I mean not baffles. So it is that. It's mental. So what I'm going to see if I can do is just make it a little bit more sedate, because at the moment it's quite ridiculous. So what I'm thinking is whack some holes in there, maybe cover up the end or half cover up the end, a bit of crap nut welding. I've got some big old washers kicking around somewhere, not these because they're a bit small, but you know, something like that. A load of holes around the outside, so I'm not actually affecting the airflow too much, but I'm just trying to deflect the noise slightly, so I'm going to give that a go. Let's do the holes first. Right, and not quite as embarrassing, but still pretty humiliating. But hey, I'm learning and I'm practicing, but it does the job. Right, let's get that one in and we'll see what he sounds like. Right, so that's both in. See how he sounds. Silly job that suits a Sunday that I'm filming, actually. Happy with that. In fact, I need that. That's my strut. Right. I think that sounds better. It's very difficult to tell. I might see if I can cut in some previous footage and do a compare and contrast. I mean, it feels better and it doesn't feel like it's dropping and catching so much, but it's difficult to explain. It's difficult to get sound across on a camera. It doesn't really work that well. What next? Well, headstock bearings haven't arrived. I need to look at how I do it. I know there's lots of how-tos and how-not-tos. I'm less concerned about removing the existing because I know how to do that. I think it'll be a voyage of discovery. Now, Sting is off tomorrow. Sting's being picked up tomorrow, which gives me a lot more. I've just noticed my grips work. The heated grips work on this. Where was I? Yeah, Sting departs tomorrow. I'm essentially storing it for Steve at the moment because he's paid and all the paperwork's done and all of that. So Sting departs, which is good timing because to do the headstock on this, I'm going to need to sling him up, and frankly, it's going to take me more than a day to do because I've not done it before and I don't want to rush it. So I need it slung safely so I can still work around it, which really means I only need 2 bikes in here. What I intend to do is actually spin him around and have him face him out of the garage, because the main strut that I'm going to use is directly above the door, and I want the front of the bike there. And the only way I can do it with the bike orientated this way is to leave it hanging out the garage, which I don't want to do because it's going to take more than a day and I don't want to leave my garage open overnight when I'm all locked up and secure. Right, so that's the next thing to look forward to. That will do me, boys and girls, for another one. Yeah, it's an interesting one, this one. I want to get it rideable because I want to see what it's like to ride. It's a big high beast. The seat is actually quite comfortable. He's a noisy bugger. But I think because of that it could be fun. But I'm not prepared to test out that fun why that steering is quite as notched as it is, because it's only going to take it to catch when I'm not expecting it, and that's me on the tarmac, which won't be fun. Might make good footage, but won't be fun to do. Right, that'll do me all. Cheers, I'll catch you later on. Ta-da.